And thank you very much for tuning in worldwide, channelafrica.co.za, across the African region via satellite on channel PAS 10. That is today, just by the way, is International Youth Day, putting young people and the issues shaping their lives in the spotlight. South Africa, as we noted, and South African universities attract students from across the African region and beyond. But for many international students, the experience extends beyond the classroom. At a time when migration and belonging are increasingly contested issues, especially here in South Africa, what does it actually mean to students, when it comes to being able to make friends, to build a future here as an international student? Those are just some of the questions coming to mind. So we're going to look at the experiences of international students, the challenges they face, and how universities can create spaces where young people from across Africa can genuinely connect and belong. Our guest for this conversation is a student and international relations officer at the University of Venda. Madume Mukwena, welcome to the program. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Thank you very much. Let's start with the student experience in this conversation. What is actually or what is it like? Paint a picture of what it's like for a young person from another country to arrive in a South African university.
Okay, so when students come to South Africa, um, some universities they welcome them straight from the airport. So it's a matter of the student communicating with the university that they will be landing on such and such a date and such a time, and then arrange with the university to be shuttled from straight from the airport to their university of choice. In my case, I'm from the University of Venda, so that's what we are currently doing because we are very far from the airport. So we've made it easy for our students to to be received. We're talking about the spirit of Ubuntu. So we welcome them straight from the airport and we bring them to the university in Toyando, which, it is more than 5 hours drive.
Hmm.
But when we do that, when we make those kind of arrangements, we make our students feel welcome.
Mm. Another piece of the
Yeah.
puzzle that we often don't talk about is why South Africa. From your perspective and what you have observed in the work that you do, Matome, why do students from across the African region actually choose South Africa as a destination or a place to study? And what are they hoping to gain from their experience, according to what you've heard?
So if you look at the global rankings, South Africa, when you compare it with the rest of the continent, is the universities in South Africa are ranked amongst some of the best within the continent of Africa. And secondly, it's the issue of the environment. It's a beautiful environment. So firstly, it's the education, then it's the environment, and then of course it is the spirit of Ubuntu that they learn about in growing up, wherever they come from. And some of them, it's a matter of, for instance, students who come as exchange students, they are intrigued by South Africa as a destination because of how beautiful our country is. So they are intrigued to learn about the culture, about the music. So we give them an opportunity to experience the nature, and then we give them an opportunity to experience the local food because South Africa's food is quite diverse based on the geographical location you come from. So it's diverse. So they come here to experience the food, but also to make friends for life. I mean, they get opportunities to interact with locals and learn about the South African culture and learn about life in general.
Right. I think that intercultural exchange is so important. It really isn't at the back of, the priority list when it comes to, being able to exchange ideas from a cultural perspective. It actually grows the nation in ways that also need to have their own discussion at some point. But South Africa is having some really difficult conversations around migration and foreigners,
Yeah.
especially at this time. And I think we need to address that. How does that conversation affect international students on campus?
I think that on campus, students who are studying in South Africa are legal citizens of the country. The safest place to be is definitely on campus because you will not be confronted by people who are currently confronting other people out in the streets. But if you're on campus, that is the safest place to be. I mean, we provide accommodation for our students on campus, so those matters do not really affect them in a negative way. And especially in Venda area, we don't have those kind of challenges because of how people are in their Venda region. So they are very nice people. So we don't really experience those kind of challenges really. And so for students on campus, we have something called the buddy program. In our university, we have the Karafarane buddy program. I've been involved with the buddy program since I was still working in Cape Town. Then in Bloemfontein, I was involved with the buddy program as well. Now I'm in Venda and I'm still involved with the buddy program, which is what we call Internationalization at Home Initiative, which enables our students to interact with the local people, and it also gives our local students an opportunity to experience what it is like to interact with someone from outside the country. So we call it Internationalization at Home Initiative. So it helps students to settle in quite nicely, to make friends, and the people that are involved in the buddy program are able to give advice to students on where to go, what to do. Whenever the student has any questions, they can ask their buddy to help them. And so it's an initiative that we hope that could be replicated across all the universities in the country. Some universities do have it, some don't. So, but if you have a buddy program and you utilize it to its fullest, then it helps students not feel homesick when they're in the country.
That is fascinating. Internationalization at home. I've never heard of that concept. It sounds absolutely wholesome. In fact, I'd like more details on that because we really need to look at how to meaningfully build friendships and collaborate. And I think this internationalization at home program, as you describe it, is one of those particular pillars in this conversation. Matome Mokoena joins me on the line. Of course, he is a student and international relations officer at the University of Venda, as we continue to acknowledge International Youth Day.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
E a recente aprovação da nova lei de combate à disseminação de informações falsas na Guiné-Bissau abriu um intenso debate público sobre os limites entre o combate à desinformação e a salvaguarda da liberdade de expressão. O diploma aprovado pelo Conselho Nacional de Transição pretende reforçar o combate ao cibercrime, às burlas digitais e à propagação de conteúdos falsos nas redes sociais, prevendo inclusive penas agravadas para casos com dimensão internacional. Nesta entrevista com António Nhanga, bastonário da Ordem dos Jornalistas da Guiné-Bissau, analisámos as implicações políticas, sociais e mediáticas da nova legislação.
É um pretexto que o comando militar arranjou para poder silenciar a imprensa ou silenciar as vozes mais críticas que pode haver no país. Essa que é a grande verdade sobre esse assunto. A questão de liberdade, a questão de combater a fake news, mas a forma de silenciar as vozes críticas que existem no país, quer na imprensa, quer nas redes sociais. férias.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África.
Every headline has a human side. The Journal with Mateko Musito on the African Perspective.
22 minutes into 9 a.m. in Central African Time. Thank you for staying with us. Otherwise, if you've just started listening, this is the Journal exclusive to Channel Africa, acknowledging today it being the 12th of August 2026, known as International Youth Day. And we're putting people and issues that are shaping their lives, young people that is, and their issues that are shaping their lives in the spotlight. This time around, of course, we're focusing on the student community, and particularly with a special focus on international students from across other parts of Africa that are coming into South Africa to study here. But what is fascinating about our conversation is that we're going beyond the classroom and looking at the importance of building friendships and collaborating. And I really like this idea that you bring to the table, Matome, the internationalization at home. Does this particular concept mean that universities can create a truly global or Pan-African experience, if you will, for students within campus itself?
Definitely. So what it does is that when you have international students on campus, it exposes the local students with a different perspective. So when these students interact, when the local students get an opportunity to interact with the fellow international students, then they don't necessarily need to have a passport to have an internationalization experience. So they can interact with the international students to learn about how other countries do their things and vice versa. So it's a reciprocal initiative. It benefits both parties, both international students and local students. So our students don't need to have a passport to have an international experience, and then our international students then get to learn about local culture. That's what it is.
Right. We're obviously using the University of Venda as a fine example of, the international student community here in South Africa, and I think it's wonderful. But just broadly speaking, Matome, and I appreciate the fact that you've worked in other university and tertiary structures and institutions previously. What more could universities do to ensure that international students don't just simply study here, but that we create an actual sense of belonging for them going forward?
So when it comes to that in particular, students, they bring in so much value. I remember when I was still in Cape Peninsula University of Technology, for instance, I was responsible for the Zimbabwean Presidential Scholarship Program. And the amount of students who passed with distinctions and graduated in record time increased the throughput rate of the university, skyrocketed, and they were taking all the awards, like the Vice Chancellor's Awards during graduation and all of that. So when you have those kind of students, you would want a situation where you encourage them to further their studies and also offer them bursaries to further their studies so that they could also bring in value within the country. So it is important for every university to play their role. There are many opportunities where students can apply for funding opportunities where they could further their studies, but we would appreciate a situation where each university can have like extra funds to sponsor talented students, and so that they could bring in more value to the country.
Absolutely. I'm fascinated about how, universities are structured at this time, Matome, especially now that we are in International Youth Day and acknowledging that, as it were. Are they, exchange not programs, but just intercultural dialogues and discourses that are happening across the various universities, where the University of Venda, for example, can speak to students at the University of Johannesburg. And talk about how to build these types of structures and the internationalization pillar, as you noted as well.
Yeah, so we do have an annual event called the Internationalization Education Association. It's called AISA, Internationalization Education Association of South Africa.
Right.
We meet annually. This year we are going to Kugompo, as you know, the new name for East London.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will be there. There will be internationalization practitioners. There will be students also. There will be people presenting. I'm also presenting at the conference this year. So we do meet and we do get to interact with each other and also get to hear the perspective of students as well. And also, as far as the University of Venda is concerned, we have the student union also. Ours is called UNISU. So they also get to interact with their counterparts from other universities, and they get to host their own events sometimes. And we have next month, my university will be hosting, my university, specifically my department, we will be hosting the internationalization week in Venda. So we get to invite other universities, both from South Africa and our international partners, to come and interact with each other. We get to engage with each other. At the end of the day, we will be creating framework that will work for us in particular, so that it can benefit our university and internationalization space as a whole.
Oh man, this has been a really educational segment around the student community, because it's International Youth Day at a university every day. You know, we just, of course, are using today to really highlight some of these wonderful initiatives that are happening on campus and beyond. Matume, all the best with what's to come, and happy International Youth Day. Thank you for the time. Eh?
Thank you so much for your time. And in closing, I'd like to say we'll be also hosting a webinar to benefit our students tomorrow in the University of Venda. Thank you.
Okay, tell us more about the webinar and perhaps registration details.
So the webinar is on AI and cybersecurity. We are partnering with our Indian partners, and they will be presenting, and we're collaborating with them. And so it will be happening tomorrow at midday. Anyone who's interested in attending the webinar, they could actually email my work email address, matume.mokwena@univen.ac.za, so that we could send them the link to tomorrow's session.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Univen is actually on Instagram, just by the way. So if you'd like to follow what is happening and you're really interested in the international student community at University of Venda, you can just follow them on Instagram. Matume Mokwena joining us in his capacity as Student and International Relations Officer at the University of Venda. It is 9:30. We say a very good morning to Figilele Ngwati, who's standing by with the latest in sports.
Sports on